All right, guys, welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you are new here. Thank you guys so much for joining me today and waiting patiently, as always, for the intro to finish up. I hope everybody's doing well on this Saturday afternoon. I'm doing a little bit of a, excuse me, a bonus stream, doing something a little bit different. Wanted to do a review discussion about Resident Evil Requiem. I decided maybe it would be best, although I don't know if I'll continue to do it this way in the future, but to do this discussion separate from most of the streams or the main streams because of the nature of going over spoilers. I know that people haven't played it yet who are planning on playing it, or maybe you haven't finished it yet. But I think enough time has went by. Boss, chill, dude. Chill. You got like 6 helpings of treats yesterday. Don't start. Hold on. Boss. Go. 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 I just got to make sure boss doesn't accidentally turn my computer off because he always gets like dangerously close to the power button and so annoying. So you, aka Mr. Hamster, says really love it more than Resident Evil 7 and 8. It has the perfect mix of action and horror. Only con is it didn't have much of MBG's favorite element, complex puzzles. Yes, never forget. Never forget, so you. I pretty much agree with that. And yeah, the puzzles that were there, I was very grateful that they were not torturous. There wasn't a moment where I was completely like, whoa, I don't know what I'm doing here. But they weren't too easy either. They kind of landed in that sweet spot. Maybe for some people they were too easy. Maybe I'm just dumb. But Clark, okay. My cats are so annoying, dude. Like I just want to talk to people. Like look at boss. Stop it. Stop. I fed you not even a couple hours ago, dude. Stop. I'm shunning you. Look at him. I just want to talk to my audience about Resident Evil. Why can't you let me do that? Like, my cat's straight up bullying me into feeding him treats, man. You don't do horror games. It's not your thing. Yeah, that's understandable. This game, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how Resident Evil Requiem has elements of horror and action, which I'm very happy about. Okay, you know what? That's it. I don't know if we'll hit 25 members today. I'm assuming we're going to get lower than normal viewership because it's not a normal stream, but I can't deal with boss torturing me. This might be a shorter than usual stream. We'll see how it goes, but I just wanted to do a little bonus because I wanted to talk about Resident Evil with you guys. It's a game I've been anticipating for quite some time now. Kevin Martinez says, just got my platinum for Resident Evil last night. What a ride. I'm very close. Yeah, I need like 6 more trophies. Right now, I'm doing my Insanity mode playthrough. I did unlock infinite ammo, so that's making the Insanity mode playthrough substantially easier. But I'm still struggling in some areas, man. They really made it difficult to a point where even if you have infinite ammo, some of these enemies, dude, the mini bosses, they take so many hits, man. It's like it seems like they kind of anticipated that most people would do their Insanity run with infinite ammo enabled. Michael, you're saying, what's up, MBG? I've been waiting for this stream. Well, I'm glad you could tune in, man. Joel wishes he was treated like Leon. Well, yeah, we're going to get into a lot of the story beats as well. So I do want to preface what I'm saying with spoilers, do keep that in mind. I wonder if I should put that in the title. I should put that in the title. Hold on. Review, discussion, and I'll put in parentheses, spoilers. Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure people know when they're coming in that we will be talking about spoilers because... Yeah, I put review discussion, but I probably should have put spoiler cast. Do you think I should change it to that? I guess it's fine. Spoilers is in the title, so anybody who sees it, they'll know. You haven't played Requiem yet? You're finishing Resident Evil 4 Remake to get your fix. You're saying I'll catch you guys next stream. Have a good one. See, yeah, and that's why I'm always nervous about doing these types of streams, because it's like I don't know. I never know how much time to give it, and I don't know. I feel like, yeah, I guess it hasn't been that long. It's been like 2 weeks, which is weird because I guess yeah, I feel like I've been playing it forever, but I really haven't. It's only been like 2 weeks. Yeah, so I prepared for Resident Evil Requiem by platinuming Resident Evil 2 Remake, and I did play Resident Evil 4 Remake for a little bit, but I didn't beat it. I just, was messing around with it a little bit. But I want to say here, somebody said Naughty Dog can take some notes on how to treat Joel, treat him like Leon. I will say, and this is a major spoiler, at the end of the game, one of the things that I wasn't anticipating is when you get to the very end, you're given a choice. There's this new virus called Elpis, and you're playing as Grace. Leon is on his last leg, dude. Leon is like succumbing to the T virus, and it's taking him over. And he wants you to actually destroy the virus. That's his whole thing, like destroy Elpis, because we're under the impression that this new virus is what's going to destroy everything. You got that guy Zeno, Timu Wesker, which, dude, I gotta say, if there's one character in Resident Evil Requiem, okay, Clark, come on, man, what are you guys doing? They're gonna ruin this stream, bro. If there's one character that I wish actually had been fleshed out a little bit more and had more screen time, because I mean, yeah, it was basically Wesker was that character Zeno. Also, I can't stand the fact that his coat never came off, dude. Did that bother anybody else? That really bothered me. Like, I understand he's got the coat over the shoulders and he's doing all this crazy stuff in it, but I'm like, at some point he's got to take it off, right? And he just never did. And I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like that he just had this coat on his shoulders the whole time, bro. But at the end of the game, you're given a choice to either destroy Elpis or release it. And I feel like Capcom low-key kind of trolled Resident Evil players here, because the whole game, you're pretty much told that this virus is very bad, and you don't want to release it. Like, it would be a bad thing to release it. And so your natural instinct, at least my natural instinct, when I got to the end of the game, was to destroy it. And I was shocked at how this game ended when you chose that ending. And it felt so pointless that it did genuinely just feel like a troll. So when you choose to destroy Elpis, Leon gets his head blown off. Straight up. He's like, well, at least I could save you. And then Zeno just blows his head off. He does get the Joel treatment, essentially. And then Grace escapes in a chopper, and that's it. That's the end of the game. Then the credits roll. And that was my first experience with the ending of this game, and I was like, what? Like, I couldn't believe it. But then when you finish the credits, they ask you, like, do you want to go back and choose again? And it's like, of course I do. Why was that even an option? Yeah, exactly. I feel like it was a troll, and it's so funny to me, where it's like, there's a good ending and a bad ending, and if you choose the bad ending, it's pretty bad. It's pretty devastating to any Leon fans. And so the fact that they ask you, it's because I'm brain dead. Did I even watch and listen to the story? Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess, like, I kind of had an idea, like, well, it can't be that simple. Like, I did think about that. I'm like, surely it's not that simple. Like, you just release Elpis and then it's like, oh, everything goes wrong. But it did feel like it was a little bit of a, I get, maybe that's it, right? They're checking, like, how closely were you paying attention? I guess people like me, it's like, well, I was paying attention, but Not that closely. Like, I was just enjoying the ride, man. Don't put that kind of pressure on me. So I was a little bit surprised that they gave you the option at the end. I didn't think there was going to be an option. Um, and then so, I went back and I chose the good ending. And yeah, it felt like that's the real ending. The real ending is you release Elpis, you realize it's a cure for the T virus, and it cures everybody. And that Xeno dude, you know, eagerly injects himself with it, not realizing it's going to take away his powers, and then he gets taken out. And I gotta say, I was surprised that there wasn't like a boss battle with Xeno. I was highly anticipating a boss battle with Xeno. That didn't happen, but you do have a boss battle with Gideon, right? I think that's his name, right? And that was the more traditional, crazy ending. He has like 3 different transformations, and he turns into a big nemesis like monster or whatever. I did think the boss battle at the end was a little too easy, though. I don't know, it was a little too simplistic. Didn't really bother me too much, but yeah, I'm just starting by talking about the ending of the game for some reason, but I guess it's because, yeah, that's kind of the big thing, right? Is I remember there were spoilers, people kept coming into my stream and they were like, Leon dies and stuff like that. And I'm like, come on, bro. Like, and I guess I did have a little bit of nervousness where I'm like, I don't know if they're trolling or not. And, now I know he can die if you choose a certain ending, but, and man, that ending sucks. But I want to talk about how I believe I really think that Capcom nailed something so important with this game. And that is the fact that, while I think they took a big risk where they look at games like Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8, and they understand that people do clearly want horror, right? Especially when you look at Resident Evil 7, and they want that first person view. Resident Evil 7 kind of rejuvenated the series again. But they also know that people want Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 2 Remake. These are all like major high points of the series, and they clearly want to kind of like recapture that. So I thought that they took a really big risk by making the decision that they're going to do both. They're going to try to do both in one game. And, for as hyped as I was about it, wait, you're saying Leon dying is the real ending? There's no way. There's no way that's the real ending. What makes you say that? Did I miss something? Is there something I'm missing here? Because I felt like the other ending where he doesn't die is way more fleshed out. Like, way more. Like, that seems to lead directly into what will be Resident Evil 10. It was a test to see if you paid attention. They let you know the whole way that Spencer was regretful and wanted to make amends. If you paid attention, Elpis was only seen as a bad thing. Yeah, I guess I didn't really focus too much on that. Like, I was paying attention, but I didn't think about it, right? Where it's like, yeah, he is regretful. Like, he talks about Grace being his last hope and all that. And yeah, I don't know. I guess I just wasn't thinking about it in the ending. I'm just like, I don't know, man. This Xeno guy, he really wants me to release this thing, and this guy seems like a dick, I'm like, this guy seems like an a-hole. I don't know if I want to listen to him. It's not. The director said the Hope ending is canon. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. The idea of like Leon dying that way and it being canon would be crazy. Dwayne, you're saying, MBG just saying hello, and hope you're having a good weekend. Oh, you haven't played the game yet. You don't want spoilers. Well, I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you, man. Yeah, so one of the things that Capcom did with this game is they made the decision to incorporate first and third person, but they took it up a notch. They let you choose. And I'm curious how you guys played it. Mr. Benedorm, you're saying you've only played third person on all of your runs. You don't think first person suits Resident Evil? I feel the same way. Yeah. one of the biggest turnoffs for me for Resident Evil 7 and 8 was it being first person. I really struggled. To play those games because I'm like, I don't know. For me, Resident Evil isn't first person, dude. It's just not. To me, Resident Evil is a third person game. And so, I do understand, though, that when you're doing the horror sections, obviously it being in first person makes it a lot scarier. But I played all of Grace's sections in third person, and obviously all of Leon's sections in third. I did try out first person just to see what it was like, and I'm like, oh, hell no. I'm like, I can't, hell, I'm not. And so I'm just so grateful, dude. I have to say, like, I really like the fact that Capcom decided not only are we going to offer both, but we're going to let you choose at every point in the game. They could have made it so that, you have to play Grace's sections in first person, but they didn't do that. And I'm so glad because I would have been definitely less enthusiastic about this game. And I know it sounds weird, but it makes that big of a difference to me. I did play a little bit of Grace in first person, but I'm like, nah, I just don't like the feel of it. I don't like the way Resident Evil feels in first person. I want to play third person. And I wish more games would give you this option. So, Capcom, man, I feel like they raised the bar with that because how many AAA games actually do this? How many AAA games give you the ability to choose between I want to play in first person and third person at any point in the game? And Hellbound, 1981. Hellbound the Legend, he comes in, he drops 5 member gifts for you guys during this review discussion. Hellbound, thank you so much, man. Boss, don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that. W's in the chat for Hellbound. I appreciate that, buddy. Yeah, I don't know how much support I'll get on today's stream, but any support you guys want to show, thank you for that. We had a really good stream yesterday as well. Some good discussions. If you want to drop any member gifts like Hellbound, feel free to do so. I'll add that to the counter. Thank you, man. Grace is all about first person. Well, there are a couple sections in the game where it does put you in first person for like more, the more cinematic aspects. And that was a little jarring. Like it keeps zooming in and out. But yeah, I still played it all in third person. RE9 is a 10 out of 10. Well, I mean, that's the thing, man. I was asking people on my Twitter today, like, do you think Resident Evil Requiem is a masterpiece? And it feels like it is, man. There are parts of this game that I can understand why people are like, really? Like, some of the story is a little bit, like, some people just don't like the story. They don't like the direction it went in. But I don't know, man. For me, I'm like, this is, I don't know, like, this is the best Resident Evil game I played in years, like by miles. And I don't know if I'm like the only one that feels that way. I don't think I'm the only one that feels that way, but I don't know. It really is just like I started to fall off of Resident Evil around Resident Evil 5. And then Resident Evil 6 completely lost me. And I think a lot of Resident Evil fans feel that way. Like RE6 just felt like I don't know what the hell is going on anymore. And I feel like they totally lost the plot. And I remember playing the demo of RE6 and being like, I'm good. And RE7, the thing about Resident Evil 7 is I wasn't like that interested in it. What got me interested in it was the excitement that everybody else had for it, where they're like, this is amazing. Like, this is actually a really great horror game. Like, they found a new formula for Resident Evil. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I went to go play it and I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good, but but I'm like, it just doesn't feel like Resident Evil. And Resident Evil 8, I struggled with. I'm like, I'm going to be honest. I didn't really like it very much. But with Resident Evil 9, man, I think now it's worth noting that in between these mainline releases, Capcom is like, here's RE2 remake and here's RE4 remake. And that's the thing where I was like, well, RE7 was pretty good, but I don't feel that enthusiastic about it. RE8 didn't really like that one very much. Meanwhile, Resident Evil 2 Remake, I'm like, this is amazing. I love this. I love every aspect of this. And then Resident Evil 4 Remake, it's like, yes, yes, this is incredible. And it just seems to me that like Capcom understood the assignment where they're like, what if we tried to combine all the amazing aspects of Resident Evil 2 Remake with Resident Evil 4 Remake? And on paper, I feel like that could sound kind of disastrous. And that's the big risk that I feel like they took. But in my opinion, they nailed it, man. I think they absolutely crushed it. And my expectations were very high. I was very nervous, though, that so my experience with playing like my first playthrough of Requiem, I played it very slowly. Like that's how I play these games. I play them methodically. I don't rush. I am not worried about trophies or anything like that or unlocking anything. I'm just worried about taking my time, slowly checking every area, every nook and corner, and making sure that I'm just not missing anything. And so when I did my first playthrough, obviously because I also don't know the puzzles, I feel like I started to get nervous because it was like, okay, you're playing the intro as Grace, and that lasts for about like 30 minutes. Then you get your first introduction to Leon, and you play for Leon for about, another 20 minutes or so, which I loved, by the way. Um, Leon's, oh, hold on.
How two of the most strongest character never have the time to shine. Leon should rest.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I do think some people feel as though Leon gets like preferential treatment, and it's hard for me to be upset about that because I love Leon. He's one of my favorite characters, but I don't think Leon will star in the next game. You know what would be cool if they just did like a Leon and Chris game? Now that'd be badass. I guess they kind of did that with RE6 a little bit, but I'm sure. Yeah, I would imagine the next game will probably star Chris and maybe Jill. I could see that potentially. And we have PlayStation Pete with a super chat. Thank you, PlayStation Pete. He says, I only need one more trophy for the Battlefront 2. You said multitasking, but I think you meant to say platinum. My website goes live in 2 weeks. Oh, so you did make the website. Nice, PlayStation Pete. And you'll have to let me know when you get that final trophy for Battlefront 2. And you're saying Project Helix is not a threat, right? As of right now, no, I don't think it is. We talked, so PlayStation Pete, I will tell you when we're done with the stream today, we talked extensively about Project Helix in yesterday's stream. So if you really want to know how confused we all are about Project Helix, you could go check that out. But no, I don't think it's a threat at the moment. We'll see what happens as we progress into this year, next year with next gen. But PlayStation Pete and World's Greatest Detective, thank you guys for the donations. But when I was playing my first playthrough of Requiem, I noticed that like, okay, so I'm playing as Grace, and Grace's sections felt like they were taking like hours. Like I played for Grace as 3 hours, and then I would play as Leon for like 15 to 20 minutes. And then I would be back to Grace, another like 2-3 hour section. Maybe not that long, but it just, I guess it felt so prolonged on my first playthrough because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're supposed to unlock or where you don't know the puzzles. You don't know how all these things, you don't know the flow, is what I'm trying to say. And so I started to assume that like, oh no. Like I thought this is how the entire game was played, where you're gonna play the majority of the time as Grace, and then you're gonna have like these smaller cleanup sections as Leon. and the action sections are going to be very fast paced but very short lived. That's what I thought was going on. And so there was this point about 5 or 6 hours into Requiem where I was like, "Oh no. Like I don't know if this game is going to be what I thought it was." But then obviously you get to that midway section of the game where you kind of have that final boss battle with the what's the name of the monster that chases you? Um it's like it was I guess one of the little girls and or one of the clones and she became like a monster. I don't know the name of the monster, but you have your final showdown with that monster. And then Grace, like I thought I was going to keep playing as her, but then you switch to Leon and he goes to Raccoon City. And then basically the whole second half of the game it kind of like reverses, you know, so you play the majority of it as Leon and then there's just a few sections in between as Grace. And I love that. Like that really did surprise me because I don't know, I wasn't expecting that. I thought, okay, I understand the flow of this game and I'm not going to like it because of that. 80% of the game is Grace, 20% is Leon, and it's like, no, actually it's split 50-50. And that felt right. That felt much better because I'm like, yeah, 50% of the time should be action and 50% of it should be horror. If you're going to try to mix these things together, I mean, you can have it lean a little bit towards one or the other, sure, but I guess I started to assume that um that the majority of the game was going to be horror, you know, and like similar like RE7 or RE8. Well, more like RE7, I guess. But but I was really pleasantly surprised at how amazing Leon's sections were. Um, you know, I'm just trying to talk about I'm just trying to think about my first playthrough because my first playthrough is, I mean, obviously that's like the best one, right? The first time you experience these games, you know, there's nothing quite like it. And my first time getting through Grace's sections, I was pleasantly surprised at how capable she actually was. If you take your time and you collect all the items, they give you enough ammunition. They give you enough resources in regular. I'm not talking about insanity mode. They give you enough to actually take out the majority of the enemies, which I really appreciated because I thought towards the beginning that they were going to make you pretty helpless, but no. By the time I got to play as Leon and go through the facility, I had nothing left to kill because I killed everything as Grace. So I thought that that was really well balanced, where you truly are rewarded for going the extra, you know, length um to search every area and to try to pick up every item you can. Because when you do that, you like, dude, I took out the butcher guy. I took out um again, I don't know does anybody know the name of this monster? The giant monster that chases you. I mean, there's multiple giant monsters. There's that big fat blob guy. I don't know what his name is, but but I was surprised when you use the Requiem handgun. I was like, all right, I guess I'll try to shoot these guys with it, and you could kill them. And I was like, oh, and I got trophies for it. And I'm like, okay, but I think for a lot of people, they don't do that. They just assume they can't kill them, and you just continue to run away from them and hide. And then later on, you come back as Leon, and then Leon absolutely wrecks them. But but I was pleasantly surprised at how capable Grace actually was in her sections. But also, his name is Chunk. There you go. Thank you, Beast Mode. But I was really just enthralled with Leon going back to um Raccoon City. And obviously when he reaches the Raccoon City Police Department, the RPD, I have to I have to talk about the soundtrack, dude. Oh my god. Like the soundtrack that they play is so good. It's like a kind of like a mixed version of a remixed version of the original soundtrack from RE2 when you first enter the station. Okay, Clark, bro, can you go, man? What are you doing? Go. You know, you're being bad. Very apocalyptic vibe. Yeah, yeah, but also nostalgic. Apocalyptic nostalgia, man. That's what it felt like. And I don't mind Clark being up here. I just know he wants to flash the camera. Can't have that. But yeah, man, it was so good. And we have Sleepy Dad in the chat saying hashtag free Rich Rod. Definitely not Rich Rod. It was so good. And one of the things that I was also a little bit nervous about when I was playing RE9 was when I was playing Leon's sections, I started to feel nervous that, like, man, how condensed is everything going to be? Because he has the briefcase just like he does in Resident Evil 4. He has a bunch of different weapons to choose from. You can buy weapons, you can upgrade weapons, you can wear armor, you can do all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, this is all stuff you can do in Resident Evil 4. And they clearly brought that back. But I was like nervous that it was going to feel too condensed, like it was pointless. Like, why is this stuff even here? It's not going to, you're going to be playing as Leon half the time you would compared to like Resident Evil 4, right? So is it really necessary to have all this stuff here? And yeah, they found a way where they made it work, where there's multiple weapons to choose from. There's multiple upgrade paths for those weapons, and you don't have to do them, but like at no point does it feel like unbalanced and it doesn't work. At least from my experience. Once you get infinite ammo, I mean, that just totally kind of breaks the game in a sense, right? But talking about my first playthrough, it felt like Leon was certainly more capable, but they ramp it up for you where, Grace can deal with 2, 3 enemies at once max, and you're likely to get overwhelmed, right? If you're not prepared. With Leon, dude, like the first area of Raccoon City, you're like one of the first things that happens is you fight this giant ass spider. It's just an immediate boss battle. And that's another thing I noticed too, is like they basically reserved almost all the boss battles for Leon, which I think was a smart move. You battle this giant spider, and I'm like, okay, well, this is crazy. And after you do that, you're like, I guess there like aren't any zombies or anything, right? Because it's after the nuke hit or whatever, so there's nothing left. But then you enter this kind of like warehouse, and he's like, "Where are all the bodies?" And then literally like it felt like 12 to 15 zombies just come out of the ground, and you just go ham, and it's stuff like that, that I don't know. They found a way to make it so the dynamic when playing as Leon, it wasn't leaning too far in the direction of you're just a superhero, basically. It really does walk this line of we're going to give you a couple of instances where you do feel like a superhero, like you are just obliterating these basic enemies. But then they have this enemy, I don't know the name of it, but it's basically a bloater from The Last of Us. And a lot of people were pointing out that there are multiple aspects of this game that feel inspired by The Last of Us. And this was one aspect that I'm like, oh hell yeah, that's 100% from The Last of Us, where not just the bloater, but the what do they call them? I forget the name of the it's like the new version of the Crimson Heads, where after you kill an enemy, they get the flooded garage, yeah, that too. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's many aspects of this that feel very inspired by The Last of Us. But you get these regular basic enemies. You think better than The Last of Us. Ooh, I don't know, that's a tough. I don't know if I'd say that. The Last of Us 1, I don't think I would say RE9 ranks above that in my opinion, but it's high up there. And dude, we need more games that kind of take these cues, right? But yeah, you get these regular enemies. They basically turn into Crimson Head enemies. And yeah, that's fine, Josh. I mean, bro, more I get it. Like I totally get it. Resident Evil 9 is a game I'm going to be looking back on for many years. The blister heads, thank you. Dude, the blister heads are annoying as hell on Insanity. Oh my god, dude. I got an infinite ammo shotgun and it takes like 15 rounds or something. I'm like, what is 15 shells? I'm like, what's going on? This is ridiculous. So the blister heads are nuts on Insanity mode, but But it's so cool because the blister heads remind me of like clickers a lot. Like they kind of had this sporadic behavior and they move in ways where it's really hard to like line up your shot. Um, but then you get this like bloater type zombie, which I don't know the name of it, but it has like these big blister things on its body. And the only way you can kill it is you have to shoot every one. They got like four on the front, two on the back. But every time you shoot one, it like explodes this, I don't know, this red mist, I guess blood, that if it gets on any enemies you already killed, it turns them into crimson heads. And so it just gets very chaotic very quickly. I'm still doing my insanity run right now, and I'm stuck at the church when you fight the bloater type enemy. And yeah, and I'm like, oh my god, this is nuts. But I thought that was so cool because I'm like, yeah, one of the coolest aspects of The Last of Us, in my opinion, were the bloaters. Those enemies were so terrifying, and they could throw the spores around and stuff. And this felt like it kind of um up the ante a little bit, where it's like not only is it like a bloater where once it gets its hands on you, you're pretty much finished, at least on insanity mode. But you got to be strategic in how you take it out, because you don't want it to turn every enemy in the area into a crimson head, because then it's just like, well, good luck, man. you know and a lot of times when you're fighting these things, you're in a somewhat confined area, which is by design, of course. But I love that. Those felt like mini boss battles that helped kind of break up the pacing for Leon, where those aspects of the gameplay made it so that, yeah, for as strong as Leon is, for as capable as he is, he's not a god. He's still just a man. Can you just run? I do believe if you want to, you can just run through most. Like, there's a church sequence that you can't run past. You have to take out all the enemies in that church before you can progress. But I think later on, when you encounter another one, if I'm not mistaken, you can actually get past it. But it's kind of difficult. Like in later in the game, when you encounter your second bloater type enemy, um, you have to use some kind of like a crank or whatever to move a platform so you can cross it, but it takes like 15 seconds or something. So like if you're skilled enough, if you time it right, maybe you can do it without getting attacked. But every time it's the valve, yeah. And every time you get attacked, it resets it. So it kind of like it wants you to face these enemies, but if you really want to, you can bypass them. Okay. I don't know why he's doing this. He literally just walks up to the camera and then just stands there. I don't know why. But but yeah, man, the gameplay of RE9 is so good, and I'm I have to say, like, I'm just so happy that my fears that I had with this game, which weren't many, but I worried that, oh, it's going to be too much Grace, not enough Leon. Wrong. Perfect amount. I worried that the gameplay was going to feel too disjointed, too like it was going to feel like it was trying too hard to be two separate games, and it would feel really strange because of that. Wrong. They nailed it. They walked that line perfectly. And that to me is why I think the conversation of like, is this game a masterpiece, needs to be had. We need to ask that question, and I think it's totally reasonable for people to say yes. I think it's understandable if they say no, but to me, what makes it so impressive is they walk that line, man, of not only having you play as two different protagonists and kind of splitting the game in half, but figuring out how to make it so that no matter who you're playing as, um, while they both have strengths, they scale the game appropriately. They don't lean too far in the direction of, when you're playing as Grace, you're just a weakling that you can't do anything. They don't do that, but they do have, they do make it known that like you can't go around like roundhousing and suplexing enemies and doing crazy maneuvers and picking up chainsaws as her either. Sleepy Dad with the $2 super chat says T5 horror. So okay, so this is hold on. This is your list for Resident Evil. So Resident Evil 0 is greater than Resident Evil 2, is greater than Resident Evil 4, is greater than Zombie U. Oh, so it's not just Resident Evil. It's greater than RE9. Bad. RE9 bad. It's greater than RE6, greater than RE5. Yeah, well, RE5 is greater than Code Veronica is greater than RE3. Why is Zombie U thrown in there, bro? That feels cursed. I feel like you were giving me your Resident Evil tier list and then you just throw Josh Nuggets is very confused. He's very confused. But thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that with us. RE9 is absolutely awesome. It's by far the best RE game, right beside RE4 Remake. Yeah, I mean, dude, I want to talk about the pacing of this game. I want to talk about the pacing because I think the pacing of this game is what makes it so exceptional. I feel like pacing in games like this can, I don't want to say make or break them, but it is the difference between, man, this game is near perfect versus no. Like this game is great, but it's not that. It's like not on the next level. Pacing, in my opinion, because they nail everything else. Like they have the gameplay loop, they have the formula, they have amazing cinematics, they have and we need to talk for a moment about the over the top moments where there are like over the top moments in this game, but they're sparse, right? They're placed perfectly. Like the section where you're riding from one point of Raccoon City to the other, and it becomes like a kind of chase sequence. And by the end of it, like Leon's like driving up a freaking collapsed skyscraper and doing something crazy. And it's like, but it doesn't overstay its welcome. You know, it's just acting as a transition from we're going from point A to point B, but there's going to be something really cool that happens in the middle, you know, and it's not going to overstay its welcome. And it's stuff like that that I feel like the pacing is near perfect. And when you get to, so like when you complete Grace's section, it's like, okay, you completed Grace's section where there's mostly horror, it's mostly classic Resident Evil, something reminiscent of Resident Evil 2 Remake. And then you have a couple sections where you get to go ham as Leon. But then we transition once you finish with Grace. Now we have Leon's section. And that's basically going to be like RE4. And we're going to do that up until you get to, oh my God, like the Tyrant battle, dude. That was awesome. I I will say that that felt perfect, right? Like I was wondering what was going to happen at the RPD station. When you got to the RPD station, I felt a little bit underwhelmed at first, where I'm like, well, there's like no enemies. There's like one random officer zombie that you shoot. Um, and it just, you know, it felt like it was underwhelming in the sense of I thought there was going to be more going on here. But then you realize like, oh, wait, no, Grace and Zeno are there. But then the Tyrant shows up. And that I kind of wasn't expecting. And what I thought was cool about the Tyrant battle was how they made it seem like he was just going to be chasing your ass around for a while, right? Like at least that was the vibe I was getting. Like, oh, I was like, oh, okay, so I'm going to be like running around the police station again, being chased by the Tyrant. But they made a smarter decision, and they were like, no, we're just going to have him chase you for like one sequence, and then he's just going to disappear. And he's gonna reemerge when you go past was it the Kendo gun shop, right? And it's just gonna be a straight up boss battle. And it's I love that because it goes to show how much Leon has changed, where it's like the same enemy that you faced in RE2, but it's been so, you know, so much has happened since then to where it's like, let's just skip right to the part where you turn into a super tyrant and, you know, I whoop your ass. And I'm like, that's just so cool to me because it would have felt maybe a little bit strange if they had you running around being chased by the tyrant again, because it's like, whoa, come on. This is like badass Leon now, right? This isn't rookie cop Leon anymore. Code Veronica single handedly killed the OG games, you think? That that was wild when he dropped. I paused and immediately played X Gonna Give It to You. That's awesome, dude. The only thing I was hoping with RE9 is when we were at Raccoon City, I wish we could have explored more of the city, like more memorable locations from the previous games, like OG RE3 Clock Tower. Yeah, I was thinking about that too, where they did let you explore more of the city, but not really many areas or any areas for that matter that felt familiar. But it really did give you, I think, so far the greatest sense of scale for for Raccoon City so far, where there's like a few times in RE2 remake where you're like walking on the streets and stuff, but it's very corridored off, and it doesn't really, it gives you a sense of like, oh yeah, this is a big city, but I'm just kind of in this one area. This does that again, but I think expands upon it a little bit without going full blown open world. And my assumption is that Raccoon City, this isn't the last we'll see of it. And I do wonder if what you're describing is something that will appear in the future. Um, the one thing that we talked about, I would say pretty frequently when we talked about Resident Evil leading up to 9, when we were covering the leaks and the rumors, is a lot of the leaks made it sound like this is a send-off game. Like this is the ending, right? Like they're wrapping up um, the older characters and stuff. And if it's true that the Hope ending is the canon ending, it doesn't feel like that at all. It definitely feels like Grace is now a new established character that's going to be pivotal going forward, but doesn't feel like Leon's done. They clearly allude to Chris Redfield like numerous times. Um, I think there's even like hints at like Claire and stuff, and people want to see Jill come back. So I don't think that this was like a send off game. It feels more like the beginning of a new, I don't want to say like trilogy, but the maybe just like a new series in the Resident Evil, where you kind of have like the original games, you have like 1 through 3, and Resident Evil 0 and Code Veronica, but then you have like RE4, 5, and 6, you know, and those feel very kind of, they feel like you have the classic survival horror era, then you have the more action oriented era, and then you have the first person horror era between um RE7 and 8. I feel like RE9, it does feel like a new beginning in a sense without doing send offs, where it's like, I was thinking about what Resident Evil 10 would be, and I'm like, I mean, of course they could do whatever they want for Resident Evil 10, but I feel like surely this is the formula you have to follow now, where you're going to have an even balance of horror, survival horror that's similar to RE2 Remake, but action that could be similar to something like RE4 and RE5. They could completely change it if they want. They might want to do that, and who knows how far away something like Resident Evil 10 is. But yeah, man, it I did not get that feeling. Like I thought, based off of the leaks, I thought that the ending of this game was gonna be like, oh, okay, that's kind of it. You know, like I guess Grace is the new main character going forward, and it's gonna be a whole new trilogy after that. That I didn't get that vibe. So I think it does leave the door open for a possible return to Raccoon City. Yeah, yeah. I will say Leon's parry is OP for sure, but you know, something tells me as I'm going through my insanity playthrough, I'm going to need it. Leg shots work best for the blister heads. I will keep that in mind. I will keep it. Yeah, certainly keep that in mind. Good riddance, Ethan. Yeah, so people like really didn't like Ethan, huh? I mean, that's another thing too, is I will say that I am, maybe it's because of the inclusion of Leon. I don't know. but I like Grace a lot more than I did Ethan. And I don't have any problems with Ethan. I don't know. I felt like RE7 and 8, those games felt like they were trying to basically get away from, all the things that made Resident Evil kind of what it was. And then, they would try to like tie it in from certain story perspectives, and Chris Redfield would show up and stuff. But I don't know. Like for me, 7 and 8, I just felt like I'm not getting on with what you guys are doing here. Like you're losing me. And that's what's so great about 9 is it feels like it it just feels perfect. Like that's the only way I could describe it. And I know that may sound a bit hyperbolic to some people, but it's like it really is doing everything right. I feel like it's checking all the boxes, not for the sake of checking them, but the boxes they need to check. Where it's like we do have a new character. This character is likable and relatable to an extent. We have a returning character that people are going to feel good about playing as, and we're going to add a couple of nostalgia factors here. We're going to have new enemies. We're going to have new areas. We're going to bring you back to old areas. It feels like this feels like, I'm going to be honest, man, like this feels like what Resident Evil 6 like should have been, basically, in a sense. You know how like Resident Evil 6, one of the things that went totally wrong and haywire with that game is they were just like, we got to do everything at one time and go way over the top. And it got to like, I don't even know what happens in the storyline with Resident Evil 6, right? Where it's like, I know that I'm playing as a Leon in a post RE6 world. Like that actually happened. And I know like Sherry Birkin is there, but I'm like, bro, I still don't even know what the hell happened in RE6. And I'm not even sure it like matters at this point. It felt, I don't know. This game feels perfect. Uh as somebody who felt like the only Resident Evil games that I was really going to be excited about going forward were the remakes, RE9 has pulled me back into the fold entirely, you know. I'm like all the way invested now where I'm like, let's go. I'm ready for Code Veronica remake. I'm ready for RE0 remake, but I'm ready for RE10. I'm actually, I can't wait for RE10 now, right? And I'm just assuming that a lot of what they established here, for example, like the first and third person mode, I'm assuming that'll return in Resident Evil 10. Be kind of crazy if, it didn't. Is this stream over? Not yet. No, this will definitely be a shorter stream today. Since I'm just talking, I'm basically just like reviewing, giving my thoughts on, Resident Evil so far. But they better rapid fire RE10 and RECV remake out quick. I think it was Dusk Golem. He said that the timeline for now, the pipeline, is Code Veronica remake next year. Excuse me, hiccups here. And then after that, I think it's Resident Evil 0 remake in 2028. And then 2029, I think, is when Resident Evil 10, like that's when they're hoping to have it ready. But they apparently also greenlit a Resident Evil 1 remake. So RE1 is seemingly going to get the remake treatment, but they seem to be avoiding 5. And I wonder what's going on with 5. And I wonder if they would ever remake 6. I don't know. I mean, you could imagine Capcom wanting to make drastic changes. I mean, I don't even think you might like if you imagine them eventually remaking Resident Evil 6, they probably shouldn't even call it a remake, just a redo. Resident Evil 6 redo, we're just redoing it here. And maybe 5 as well. But you liked Mia mostly because she was a secret agent for the connections. In my opinion, Ethan is kind of a laid back character, but it was made on purpose to make the first person horror the main factor for RE7 and 8. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Like, they wanted you to feel more, like, out of touch, like, I have no idea what's going on. I'm an outsider here, man, you know. I guess it did achieve that. Also, apparently Leon is married. Apparently he has a wedding ring on in this game, and like, has it been established who he's married to? People were very shocked that Ada was not in this game, but it is worth noting that apparently there is a significant story DLC, a story expansion that Capcom confirmed they're working on, but it's going to take a little bit. You pray that he doesn't marry Ada. I saw people saying that he's married to Claire. People were saying he's married to Sherry. I don't know. Well, Sherry's 40 years old now, right? Claire would be interesting. I mean, yeah, it's funny how like it's funny how people are very interested to know. I mean, it is one of those things where they made it clear. Like, yeah, he had a wedding ring on, so but they never really acknowledge it. They never say anything. I'm sure they're gonna have Leon with Ada. It makes zero sense for him to be with anybody else. I mean, it would feel kind of weird because yeah, there's like that deep history of Leon and Ada, right? RE2, RE4, RE6. Um, no, that's not crazy. I mean, Leon being 49, Sherry being 40. I don't think that's crazy. But yeah, it would feel that'd be so funny. It's like, yeah, no, me and Ada are married. It'd just be so funny if I mean, like, you assume if there's a big expansion coming out, they'll like that's where it will be revealed, like who he's married to, maybe. Maybe Ada will be part of that expansion, and that'll just make it clear that, like, yeah, they're just married. They've been your friend said Shiva. That would be crazy, bro. Yeah, that would be wild. Yeah, that's true too. Ada would be a little crazy because of all the double crossing and reversing over and over. Yeah, yeah. Maybe Leon, like, it could have been, you know what I mean? It should have been, it could have been, but that bitch is crazy, you know? Maybe that's the situation. Just like, yeah, no, I can't settle down with her. She's I don't know about that. Yeah, how do you trust your wife at that point? Unless, Leon, maybe Leon, he's a little bit sick though, man. Something wrong with him. He likes that. He's like, I know what I'm marrying. I know what I'm getting into. Wait, who's that? Killmonger. Helena? If Ada and Leon got married, Leon would just chuck the ring at her, and she said, "Sure," tossing it back. Yeah, right. It feels like that. Oh yeah, okay. That's probably why I'm not sure who that is. Well, I mean, I imagine we're gonna find out eventually. Surely they didn't just tease that. I mean, maybe they won't ever tell us. That'd be kind of funny too. But I mean, Claire would kind of make sense, right? A little bit. I don't know. I don't like what I don't know what is the history with. I don't. I'd have to look deeper into the history between Leon and Claire post Resident Evil 2. Ashley, oh man, that'd be crazy. Dude, that would be funny as hell. It's like, yeah, he married Ashley. Or Hunnigan. There we go. Clearly Leon is married to Rebecca. Wait, why you say that so confidently? Rebecca. Well, I guess I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, that caught me off guard. That was funny. Ashley has the ballistics. That's crazy. Yeah, half the stream we're just gonna be talking about who did Leon marry? Who's Leon's wife? But yeah, man. I just had to take a little bit of time to talk about this. You know, I don't know, as you guys clearly see, I don't do like review discussion streams like this very often. And the main reason for that is because a lot of times the games I want to talk about, like in my review discussions, are games that are pretty new. And you know, a lot of people on my channel, what I've learned about my audience is they play games in a very similar manner that I do. Not everybody, but like they like to take their time, or they're you know, they're a little bit late to it. And yeah, that's often the case for me. I am surprised that I am already in like my fourth playthrough of this game. I'm surprised I only need 6 more trophies. I really thought that when I went to go play Resident Evil, I was like, yeah, this is gonna take like a month and a half. But I'm kind of glad it didn't, you know. But I'm still trying to savor it. Do I think Starfield will get announced for PlayStation 5 soon? Yeah. I think there's like listings posted, or they're, you know, being posted too early. That's 100% getting announced for PlayStation. Has Rich Rod been back? Technically no, but some believe that he's still among us. He's he has an alias. But yeah, guys, in conclusion, Resident Evil 9 is an amazing game, and I highly recommend it, man. If you are a survival horror fan, or I mean, I don't know if I could just recommend it to action game fans, because there is survival horror to it, but it's I don't know. I do feel like it's pretty close to a masterpiece, man. It might just actually be a masterpiece where it's like the game is so well done. And when I, going forward, think about my favorite Resident Evil games, RE9 is now at the top of that list alongside RE4 and RE2, and even like, you know, the original RE1, and even, I mean, I really enjoyed 3, but like for me, like RE2 and 4 are the real standouts. Like those are the game, and Resident Evil Outbreak, got to throw that in there. Give it a score. I mean, I don't normally do numbered scores, but for this, I'd have to give it. I mean, geez, man, would I give it a 10 out of 10? I I I feel like I would probably give it a 10, dude. Like, I'm serious. I know that's kind of crazy, but I just like, I'm trying to think of like major flaws, like just any flaw that would make me go, nah, this isn't a 10. But it does everything right. It does everything right. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I can't think of anything. Like the only thing I could imagine is maybe if you're somebody who didn't like the story as much, maybe you could drop it to like a 9, you know, but I don't think it's anything less than a 9. There's even, I didn't really talk about this, but it's because we talked about it in other streams. But even when it comes to the optimization of this game, you know, I played it on the PS5 Pro. It's like, bro, it Capcom, they nailed it. They nailed it, and it's I'm so happy about it, because the Resident Evil franchise has always been one of my favorites, and I did start to feel in the last like decade, outside of the remakes, like, all right, well, I guess for me, it'll just be the remakes and the nostalgia, and that'll be it. But wherever Resident Evil's going in the future, you know, beyond those games, I think they maybe lost me. And it feels so good to know that, like, nope, they brought it back. They brought me back. 7.4 out of 10, 7.9 out of 10. I mean, for me, it's damn near a 10 out of 10, man. The lowest I would personally drop it is a 9.5 out of 10. But yeah, I'm doing my Insanity Infinite Ammo run now, and it's definitely driving me a little bit insane, but amazing game. But guys, I think that's going to do it for the stream. I definitely wanted to keep it on the shorter side today, because like I said, it was just like a bonus Saturday stream. We did a very long stream yesterday. Oh yeah, before I go, thoughts on Victor Gideon. I thought he was actually a good villain. I liked him as a villain. He was really weird and strange, and I like that about it. You know what? Before I go, if there's only one complaint I would give this game, and this is the only one, but still, it's like maybe it's better that way. I do feel like the villains needed more screen time. Like they needed more. What's the word I'm looking for? They needed more interaction, I think, with the main characters and to really be fleshed out just a little bit more. But at the same time, I feel like with Gideon, they kind of wanted to keep him a little bit of a mystery. And then with Zeno, Gideon, I don't have any problems with. I think they used him perfectly. And then he appears at the end, the real ending. Zeno was that's really I think the only character out of all the characters in the story, like main characters, that I'm like, I feel like they should have done more with him. But if I understand correctly, Zeno is just a clone, right? If I understand correctly, he's a clone of Wesker. And so I'm assuming like Wesker's never gonna go away because he's always gonna be cloned, I guess. So I wouldn't be surprised if he pops up again later on. Um, but yeah, I really thought we were gonna get a boss battle with him, and we never did. So they kind of threw me for a loop there. But yeah, I did like Gideon. He was pretty cool. But yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in today and hang out with me again. I know it's abnormal streaming on a Saturday, but I just wanted to make sure to have a dedicated kind of like spoiler cast talking about some of this stuff because I didn't know where I couldn't do it in a regular stream. If you're still wanting to watch more of my content, we did a very long stream yesterday. We talked a lot about Project Helix and the PlayStation 6 and stuff like that. I put out a video yesterday, a news video. You can check that out. And we'll probably be back here tomorrow with some regularly scheduled Sunday content. We'll probably be doing a regular Sunday stream. And as I told you guys, still got stuff going on, so my schedule's a little bit wacky right now. But hopefully, going into this upcoming week, it'll be a little bit more stable, a little bit. But yeah, we're getting there. But all right, guys, before I head out, I want to thank you for again tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button. Thank you to anybody who dropped any support. Hellbound, thank you for the member gifts. If you dropped any super chats or direct donations, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Make sure you I was gonna say make sure you thank Devil Shooter. I don't know if Devil Shooter will do timestamps for this. I don't know if he needs to. It's pretty short, and I don't think he needs to do timestamps. Devil Shooter, if you're here or if you hear this, you don't have to do them. But if you guys see him anyway, give him some thanks. He does the timestamps for all the other streams, and that's it. So, guys, I'm gonna go. I think play some more Resident Evil, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow for a regularly scheduled stream. All right. So until then, take care, everyone.